Good morning, friends, and welcome to my today's lecture on Toni Morrison as a contemporary novelist, Part 1. Before I speak about Toni Morrison, I would be talking about the novelist or the genre that she wrote in. As had the African American movement, so does the current literature focus on the themes of African American culture, racism, and equality, and the role of African Americans in society. The writings or the works of these times often reflect the struggles undergone by this race. The history of this contemporary writing dates back to the time between 1910 to 1930, right after the Great Migration to the North, when about 6 million African Americans migrated north. Following this, or right after this, the African American culture was governed by a sense of independence, which led to Harlem Renaissance and a movement of the black activists and writers. But these writers advocated and forced for an end of segregation, confronted the issue of racism, and helped in shaping a sense of pride and independence in the African American society or community. Now, this sense of pride extended into the 1970s and also into the mainstream literature. Black writers gained dominance in the American writings and also won many awards and achievements, and they gained recognition as one of the best-selling novelists. Even today, African American writers continue to address many of the same societal concerns but are accepted outside their community as well. The marginalization of race, culture, color, or religion has been abundant throughout history. In the United States, as in many other countries, this marginalization of and biased against some or small minorities is a very common phenomenon. Talking about the racial bias in US, we would also include the American minority communities like the Indians, the Black Americans, and the Chicanos. As a countermeasure, the ethnic and cultural identity dimension in the writings of Black American writers is quite obviously detectable. This could be attributed to a number of factors, which includes, among others, the context of white domination in America. Many Black African American authors have addressed that kind of cultural distinctions. Now, among them, Toni Morrison holds a very high position. Since her first novel, The Bluest Eye, which was published in 1970, Toni Morrison has become a voice of these such African American women. Born in Ohio in 1931, Morrison majored in English at the Harvard University and then completed her master's in 1955 at Cornell. In 1957, She started to teach at the Harvard University and also write her first novel. After traveling for a while, she eventually settled in New York, where she began working as an editor. Now, Morrison has been recognized as one of the strongest writers of the 20th century. She writes in poetic language and imagination, but is still able to confront the issues of racism, sexism, and inequality. Now, Morrison can be said to have mounting concerns over literalizing and textualizing this racism and discrimination in literature, and as a counter attempt in deconstructing its discourse. Morrison regards this writing of fiction by the Black Americans as a process of rebirth for the blacks, also as a significant development and an expression of the opposition and rebellions. More about Toni Morrison as a contemporary novelist I'll be talking about in my next lecture. Till then, goodbye and good day.